Horizontal subtraction with negative numbers, day 2. All right, hope you have been practicing. Today we're going to do some 3-digit minus 2-digit numbers. Now, this can get kind of messy, which is part of the reason I don't really love horizontal with big numbers. So you have to be neat, you have to be careful, but it is a great way to do it. But make sure, just like we've talked about, you call the number by the value. So we have 141 subtract 26. Remember, when we do horizontal, we put the hundreds with the hundreds, the tens with the tens, the ones with the ones. But if there aren't any hundreds to combine with that 100, because there aren't any over there to subtract, we're just going to bring the 100 straight down because there's nothing to subtract it from. Now we're going to bring the tens, so we'll bring the 40 and we'll subtract 20. Remember that subtract sign. We're going to subtract each column. So 40 subtract 20 is a positive 20. 1 subtract 6. Notice the 6 is larger. That 6 is larger than the 1, so we have a negative number there. Don't forget that. Now we're going to combine our columns together. So 100 plus 20 equals 120, and then subtract 5 using your partners, and it's 115. Okay, we don't have to write everything I've written here, but if you're reading it, it gives you what you need to know. All right, 274 minus 56. Again, notice we didn't have any hundreds to subtract from that 200, so we're just going to bring the 200 down. The 70, we're going to subtract 50 from. Pay attention to that minus sign. We're going to subtract 50. So 70 minus 50 is a positive 20. 4 subtract 6. The 6 is larger, so it's going to be a negative 2. So 200 plus 20 is 220. And then minus 2 is 218. Okay? Hopefully you've really good at saying your place value because we have practiced expanded form a lot. If you haven't, you'll want to write some of this down. So we have 556 minus 89. Notice we didn't have any hundreds over there, so we are just going to bring our 500 down. We didn't subtract anything from it. Now we have a 50 minus an 80. Notice that 80 is bigger than the 50, so we will have a negative 50. Pay attention to that negative sign. I'll make it big, so we will. And then 6 minus the 9 is a negative, so pay attention again, 3. Notice that as we did this, the 80 was bigger than the 50, the 9 was bigger than the 6, which is why they were both negatives. All right, now we're just going to combine using our partners. So 500 minus 50 equals 450. Notice the partners. Now we're going to minus a 3 from that. So 450, subtract the 3 is our partner of 47. Great job. All right, 271 minus 28. Again, we didn't subtract anything from the 200, so I'll just bring it down. I'm going to look at where my bigger digits are. The 70 is bigger than my 20, so I'm going to pay attention to that. My 8 is bigger than my 1, so I'm going to pay attention to that. So I know my 10s are going to be a positive because that digit was bigger. I know my 1s are going to be a negative because my 8 was larger. So 70 minus 20 equals 50, and it's a positive 50. 1 minus an 8, which is larger, is a negative 7. Notice I had an NSN and NSN, and then suddenly in the ones column, I had a strategy problem. So 250, because 200 plus 50 is 250, minus that 7 right there. I use my partners and know that 50 minus 7 equals 43, so 243. All right, 125 minus 83. I didn't subtract anything from the 100, so just bring the 100 down. Pay attention to this subtract sign. 20 minus an 80, so the 80 is larger. 20 minus 80 is a negative 60. And then 5 subtract 3 is positive 2. Sometimes students get so used to getting negatives, they forget they learned how to subtract 5, subtract 3 in kindergarten, and they suddenly think it's a negative. So pay attention to where the bigger number is, and you'll do great. 100 minus 60, you just need to know your partners to 100, so it's 40, plus 2 is 42. Great. All right, 452 minus 81. So we're going to subtract a number that's almost 100, so we know our answer is going to be a little bit bigger than 370. We didn't subtract anything from the 400, so bring it down. Now we'll pay attention to where our bigger digits are. The 80 is bigger than the 50, but the 2 is bigger than the 1, which means that our tens column will be a positive number. Whoops, sorry. Our tens column will be a negative number because our 80 is bigger. Our ones column will be a positive. So 50 subtract 80 equals a negative 30. We already knew that. And then 2 subtract 1 is a positive 1. Use your partners to 100 and say, 400 minus 30 equals 370, and plus that 1. Great job. 532 minus 69. Look at where your negative values will be. Our tens column is bigger over here, and our ones column is bigger over there. So that means we are going to have a negative in the tens column and a negative in the ones column because we're subtracting values that are bigger than they are. Notice we didn't do anything to the 500, so just bring it down. 30 subtract 60 equals a negative 30. And if you need to write 30 minus 60 under there to know where it came from, 2 subtract 9 is 7. Again, if you want to write where that 7 came from, 2 minus 9 is a negative 7. 50 minus 30, use your partners to 100, and you'll know it's 470. Now we're going to subtract a 7 again. Well, if I do 70 minus 7, you'll know the partner is 63. So it's 463. 614 minus 56. Bring down the 600. 10 minus 50 is a negative 40. 4 minus 6 is a negative 2. Using your partners, 600 minus 40 is 560. Now we need to subtract that 2. And again, use your partners, and it's 558. Kids, pause the video and stop this anytime you need to, or when you need to practice and then check your work. 944 minus 72. Bring your 900 straight down. 40 minus 70. Notice this 70 is larger, so negative 30. 4 minus 2. The 4 is larger, so it's a positive 2. 900 minus 30. Use your partners to 100, and you'll know it's 870. Plus 2 is 872. Great. 481 minus 22. Oh, I got really excited. For a moment, I thought it might be an NSN until the ones column. So 400, just bring it down. 80 minus 20, well, that's easy. It's a positive 60. And 1 subtract 2 is negative 1. 400 plus 60 is 460. But then I have to subtract 1. So 459. And the last one, 317 minus 64. Bring down the 300. 10 subtract 60 is a minus 50. 7 subtract 4 is a positive 3. 300 minus 50, that's a nice partner of 250 plus 4. Kids, practice this. Be neat, be careful. It is kind of messy. We'll actually make it a little bit better in a couple days, but keep practicing.